this evening I'm gonna start myself because I have a topic that I need to bring up, and I need some assistance from council. This is not an easy one, but it's something I think I need to handle. Mr. Benson.
Could you start at the other end, please?
No, I'm not starting with you, sir. I'm starting with me. I am directing a question to you.
Oh, yes.
It has been brought to my attention that you have approached a member of staff and a member of our security team about a concealed weapons permit that you have or will be receiving, and that your intentions is to bring that weapon to city council meetings.
That's not correct.
Okay. If that is not correct, then we won't have a challenge. But if it is correct, I have a concern because we set up the metal detector to protect everybody in this room. And
So there won't be any confusion. I haven't told anybody this is my intention to do that.
okay, I'm gonna,
How do these things get started?
okay, Mr. Daly.
My question for the council, as an adjunct to what you're just saying, is I'm just wondering, I mean, irrespective of what any council member is talking about or what you're referring to is, I'm just wondering what the council would think about adopting an ordinance, though, that would govern any member of the audience or anybody bringing a firearm into the council chambers. You know, you've read about some bad experiences in other cities throughout the country, and you just never know this day and age what can transpire. As it is right now, you can have a policy, but that doesn't have any teeth in it. You need an ordinance if you want anything to address a prohibition against firearms in the council chambers. So, and we don't have an ordinance at this time. So my question, since you've raised the issue, is whether you would like to have me attempt to put together an ordinance that would govern that. It would really, if you decide to do this, it would be limited to the council chambers, because there's a state law that talks about a prohibition in the building in general. But that state law would not apply unless there were a monitoring device at every entrance permanently in place, and that probably isn't very practical with our building. But for council chambers, that's another matter. I think we could craft an ordinance that would serve your purpose. So I just throw it out for your consideration.
Well, Mr. Mayor,
If you want to light up your light, and then what I'll do is, I have a few people up here already. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, I'd be in favor of putting together an ordinance. I think that anybody in this chamber that is armed could be a problem. So I think anybody in this chamber should not be armed.
Ms. Snyder.
I would agree with, of course, the exception of law enforcement, who
Yeah.
obviously needs to be carrying a weapon, so no worries, Chief. You would be exempt from that, but outside of law enforcement, I would be totally in agreement with supporting that.
Okay. Mr. Benson.
yes, I think that my comment was, I think I mentioned something about this to the chief, and I said it would be nice, I thought, if we were able to defend ourselves in the event that anything got started in these chambers, as they have been around the country, when some crazy person breaks in and they're armed and nobody else is, results in the deaths of a lot of people. But it's certainly not my intention to do anything like that unless the council approves it. I wasn't even planning to bring that up to the council. I don't know how it got brought up tonight, but I think it would be a good idea. But if it's not something that's passed as an ordinance by the council or a resolution, I'm certainly not going to do it. I'm not going to violate a law that this council passes and never have.
Mr. Lewis.
Personally, I'm not afraid of Mr. Benson if he's got a gun or not. I mean, we had a council person bring a gun to the meeting one night, and there never was too much said about that.
Oh, but there was.
Got a little bit, maybe.
More than a little. And that person was a true peace officer. Sworn.
Mr. Mayor, my comments were not aimed at
Yes,
any council
correct.
member, so.
And I understand that.
Councilman Bench, I'm just talking about the audience in general,
Okay.
including council members.
What is the thought of council? Mr. McElveen?
With Mr. Johnson and Snyder, I would feel much better if the only folks that carried a weapon inside this room were a member of our law enforcement community. Should someone ever serve on council as an active peace officer, it would make sense to provide them that same allowance. But I don't see any reason to allow either a citizen or council member to have any privilege to carry that firearm inside of this room, whether or not that person is in possession of a concealed weapons permit.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, I think I have yours. Mr. Lewis?
I don't have anything against it.
Okay. Mr. Jaquith? Ms. Teeter, or Ms. Snyder?
Snyder.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
Okay. Mr. Otar?
no problem.
Have no problem with it, or no problem with him, with one of us carrying it?
No problem with an order.
Okay. And Mr. Lewis, no problem with the ordinance, or no?
I have
No problem with it. A lawful citizen that's got a concealed weapon permit to carry his weapon.
Okay.
And I would agree with Mr. Lewis's position.
Okay. So I'm taking that it is 6-2 on this, and realizing that's just, but I would say bring the ordinance forward next week, please, and we could do it at a regular meeting, and it'll be part of the agenda. Thank you very much. Okay, well, that was much easier than I thought. Mr.